Up next on Eco Company.
What you see above you are the beam tubes that bring the giant lasers that we have into the target chamber.
Giant lasers? A target chamber? We are inside a national security lab where scientists are on a clean energy quest to bring star power to the Earth.
Plus, check out these cool digs. It's a house that runs on sunshine. It's green living with attitude.
And what's better than hugging a tree? Planting one. This team's on a mission to get us all to pick up a shovel.
Then, say goodbye to solid ground. We're hitting the open water to visit a national marine sanctuary and make some new friends along the way. Eco Company starts now. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Eco Company. This is Home Sweet Home for this week's show. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Adam, and we're chilling out on the campus of Santa Clara University in Northern California.
This house is all about going green.
And it was built by students here.
Jordan and Brendan are inside.
Hey guys!
Hey guys! So this house was built for a big national competition called the Solar Decathlon. It's held every 2 years.
And here's the big deal. They have to make an eco-friendly house that you could actually see yourself living in.
Of course, there are solar panels on the roof, but there's a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, check out the bathroom. All of this is 100% recycled glass material, and all of this is old soda bottles. More cool stuff is coming up.
But first, creating the power of the sun and the stars right here on Earth.
Sounds like science fiction, right?
But it's not.
And it could create an unlimited supply of energy for the planet.
Jessica's taking us inside a national security lab to get the scoop.
The universe. It's a place that's been around a long time, and it's powered by a big star we like to call the sun. It's our planet's one renewable, unlimited source of energy. Just imagine if we could figure out how to harness its power right here on Earth. That's what they're trying to do here at the Lawrence Livermore National Lab in Livermore, California.
So this is where the laser beam comes into this room.
Jeff Weisoff is a former shuttle astronaut who's hoping to bring what he's seen up there down here.
NIF, which stands for the National Ignition Facility, is the world's largest laser. And what we're going to do is use its very powerful laser beams to reproduce the same type of energy process that happens on the sun and in the stars, and that's called fusion.
He's talking about nuclear fusion. It's different from fission that runs power plants. Fission breaks atoms apart, releasing energy and big problems like radioactive waste. Fusion brings smaller atoms together in a more controlled way, using limitless clean energy sources.
It's carbon-free, produces no carbon in the atmosphere, which of course we worry about from an environmental point of view, and it doesn't produce the long-lived radioactive waste that you find with the fission process. So it's a very, very exciting, game-changing type of technology.
So that brings us back to the laser. They plan to use it to get enough pressure and heat to get this whole thing to work. The laser is actually made up of 192 smaller ones. Once Mission Control fires them, they're sent traveling through 2 bays, full of laser tubing. Mirrors inside bounce the beam back and forth, not just once, but several times. This allows special laser glass and optics inside the tubes to amplify them so they get more powerful. Then it's go time, and they're sent towards the big prize. I'm guessing this is the center of it all. Can you tell us what it is?
That's right. This is the target chamber for the National Ignition Facility, where we're trying to reproduce the power of the stars here on Earth. And what you see above you are the beam tubes that bring the giant lasers that we have into the target chamber. And what we're going to do is focus them in on a fuel assembly to try to recreate the conditions on the sun to get energy out. And the way it works is the laser beams come inside this little gold can that you see. We call it a holerum. It's like a cylinder with holes in each end. The laser beams hit the inside of the can and create X-rays. Those X-rays bathe a little fuel pellet in there, and the fuel pellet has a shell, and inside the shell is the fuel, which is isotopes of hydrogen, just like on the sun. And what happens is those X-rays blow the shell off, and just like a rocket where the exhaust pushes a rocket forward, when that shell blows off, it pushes the fuel by the opposite and equal reaction towards itself, and it accelerates it till it reaches about 1,000,000 miles per hour, quickly heats up to 100 million degrees, like the interior of stars, and the nuclei fuse together to form helium nuclei and release energy. And it's the same kind of energy that comes from the stars.
When they reach ignition, it will be the first controlled fusion reaction on Earth. If they can ignite fusion continuously and keep those short bursts of laser beams aimed on the hydrogen target, it could keep a power plant running, like you see in this simulation. Now that's what we call helping to clean up the planet. And this is really clean energy.
This is truly clean energy. There is no carbon put into the atmosphere, so we don't have the problems that we have with fossil fuels.
If they can pull this all off, it will change energy on the planet as we know it.
That's some cutting-edge tech.
In the meantime, there are tons of ways we can save energy and conserve our resources.
And Solar Decathlon students on this campus are doing all of the above.
Here, they use sustainable building materials like bamboo and recycled denim for insulation in the walls.
And they just built another house. Adam's checking it out.
Meet Team California, a group of college undergrads that isn't relaxing in just any living room. It's one they designed and built themselves.
We feel great, we're ecstatic.
They're students from Santa Clara University and California College of the Arts. They've teamed up to build this smart, green home for a unique competition.
Solar Decathlon is a competition sponsored by the U.S. Department of Energy and its NREL, and it's held every 2 years in Washington, D.C. on the National Mall, where 20 schools are invited based on proposals that we submit.
It took 2 years of blood, sweat, and tears to design and build.
Working in the house has been a fantastic experience.
From a huge 11 kilowatt solar panel system on the roof,
The house is 100% powered by the sun, which is kind of neat.
to its unique design,
The house is called the refract house because it's this bent tube, and the idea that light is going through the tube constantly and it's flowing through the house.
energy efficient appliances, LED lights, and eco-friendly materials, this home is packed with sustainability.
We focus really on the idea of integration between technology and architecture, so the idea of form and function, and trying to prove that living green isn't actually a compromise.
How's it going, Kyle? So we're in the refract house right now, standing in the living room. Can you tell us a little bit about the green features?
Yeah, so we tried to integrate a lot of sustainable materials into the house, such as reclaimed elm flooring, which we're standing on here, which is actually from Canada. It's from old factories that they take down, strip down, and then reuse it.
Plus, check out all the bamboo they've used for cabinets.
Bamboo is actually a grass, and so it grows very quickly and is a renewable material source.
Got some straws, it looks like.
Yeah, this is actually an art piece that was donated that's just using plastic straws, and it makes
awesome.
a really nice, soft, glowing light. So we tried to reuse things in new ways that you wouldn't necessarily think of at first.
What should we know about this couch right here?
This couch is actually incredibly unique because not only is it using recycled wool that we use to upholster it, but it's not your typical foam either that you'd find in a couch. It's actually excess blue jean denim insulation that Santa Clara used in the 07 Solar Decathlon house.
Outside,
So there's a lot of wood out here, but this wood is all right to use.
Yeah, so wood is actually more sustainable than you'd think, and we tried a couple different strategies with wood. The elm wood that we actually have on the interior, we're actually using the same source of reclaimed elm wood for the deck.
the house was even weatherized with old highway billboards. One thing you also might notice, the place has a lot of glass doors and windows.
So what's special about these windows?
So yeah, these windows cut out about 75% of the heat coming in from the sun.
Tim Sennett is in charge of climate control.
This is basically showing us temperature. So what we could use this for is to make sure that we're getting a good temperature distribution across the floor.
Can you make out the pipes there in blue? They show the house is being cooled.
And then we use pumps to bring heated and cooled water into the house. We send it through the radiant system. We can send it through the air conditioner. So water's really doing all the heating and cooling in the house.
And there's more tech to be had. you'll be able to see the amount of energy and water used at any given time.
This is a smart home in that basically all the controls are online and also accessible by an iPhone application and a touch panel.
That includes raising the blinds. Every little bit cuts back on how much energy this house and the people who live here will use. And for Team California, it's a chance to be part of the solution.
Are you feeling landlocked? Well, you won't be for long.
Next up, Jordan's headed out on the water with some special passengers. It's a lesson in protecting our oceans and all the creatures that live there.
And later, turning the power of one into the power of many. How one teen is spearheading a campaign to plant these. More Eco Company is coming up. Here you go, Jessica.
Thanks.
Hey, we're hanging out at a cool green home on the campus of Santa Clara University.
Even the deck is made out of recycled materials.
Meanwhile, Jordan's getting her sea legs.
She's taking a ride on a whale watching expedition and headed out to the Pacific.
Hey guys, I'm on board the Kitty Cat, and we're gonna release some special passengers into the wild. And hey, you never know what we might see along the way. It's a chilly day off the coast of California. But not even gray skies can dampen our excitement as we head under the Golden Gate Bridge. We're traveling out to the Gulf of the Farallones, a protected national marine sanctuary. Later, we'll be dropping off these guys. They're sea lions with a one-way ticket to ride. But first, we're keeping our eyes peeled for some of the largest creatures of the sea.
Coming right at us here, we're gonna see flukes. Beautiful.
This whale watching trip is part of a program called Vessel Watch, run by Pacific Environment.
It's an international nonprofit organization that works to protect the living environment around the northern Pacific Rim.
Jackie Dragon heads up the Marine Sanctuaries campaign. Out here, her team of researchers keep track of what they see. It's about protecting the marine life in these waters. What's out here? What kind of whales are we looking for?
In this area, we see gray whales, blue whales, and humpback whales. So far today, we've been watching a couple of gray whales, and I think we've seen a humpback or two as well.
The trip isn't just about spotting whales, though. It's about spotting ships. Dragon says they're a big threat to marine life due to something called noise pollution.
Shipping traffic, as it turns out, produces the greatest amount of noise in the ocean in that low frequency that's used by our whales, sea lions, fish. And the worry is that they won't be able to survive if they can't do what they need to do.
So what does ship noise pollution sound like? Let's listen in.
We're going to drop the hydrophone overboard and see if we can hear a little bit of what the sound is coming from underneath the ocean. What does that sound like?
Train or an engine?
That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds a lot like a freight train. You'll see off to our right over here, this ship is departing. This noise is creating problems for the animals in the water. They're acoustic animals, and they depend on the ability to send out their own sounds and to be able to hear. What scientists are telling us is that they're literally losing the ability to hear. Their own sounds are being masked by the sounds in the ocean, much of it coming from our shipping traffic.
Dragon says a big problem is that ships are going too fast. A computer program clocks this one's exact speed.
It's traveling nearly 20 knots an hour, which is really not safe for marine life in sanctuary waters. Our goal is to get those ships to slow down when they're in the sanctuaries. If they were only running 10 knots an hour, they would be much quieter because the propeller would be moving slower. They'd be cleaner, less emissions, and they'd be safer for whales because unfortunately they also run over whales, such as our humpbacks, that live in this sanctuary.
Of course, whales aren't the only marine life that need protecting out here. So do our special passengers who won't be riding back with us.
Today, we just released 8 California sea lions found stranded on the beaches and other places along the coast here.
Michael Conrad is a volunteer with the Marine Mammal Center,
Right.
a place that cares for sick or injured animals.
They were rehabilitated, and basically today we've released them back to the wild.
What's so good about the Farallone Islands? Why is it such a good place to release them?
The Farallones is a great place to release the animals because there's a good food supply here with the Pacific upwelling, and it's a marine sanctuary, so they're away from highly populated areas where there's lots of ship traffic and other dangers.
So it's off to their newfound home with the whales, and time for us to head back to our own. But we're going back with a newfound appreciation for life in the deep blue sea.
It's very exciting to know that people are becoming aware of the value of our oceans and why we need to protect them.
You know, it took a lot of dedicated students hours and hours to build this green home.
Imagine what you can do if you put your mind to it.
Up next, a teen eco-warrior builds an army of tree planters.
And you can help too. More Eco Company is next.
You're watching Eco Company.
Saving the planet is easy, and we can all make a difference.
You're about to meet one high school student who's proving that teens can help save the planet.
And she's doing it one tree at a time. Trees. The Earth needs lots of them. They produce oxygen and help cut greenhouse gas emissions. And to plant one is easy. All it takes is some dirt, a few shovels, and a little muscle, something this crew has in spades. These gardeners are members of a local 4-H club, and they're planting trees in San Mateo, California, as a part of the 4-H club's Million Trees project.
We're just trying to plant trees to combat global climate change, and we want to have the biggest impact possible. So we're planting 1 million.
High school student and 4-H'er Laura Weber came up with the idea when she was just 13. Weber was inspired after watching former Vice President Al Gore's movie about climate change.
A couple years ago, I watched the movie An Inconvenient Truth, and at the end it said plant a tree. And I thought, well, one tree, that won't make that big of a difference. But if we planted a lot, and if we got a lot of people involved, then it would make that impact that is quite necessary.
And thus, a movement was born.
We have about 24,000 kids involved already.
Wow. That includes high school students Annika Hallman and Jessica Blixlogan.
It makes me feel like I'm actually making a difference. I mean, I try to do as much as I can, but sometimes I'm just so busy. But it really makes me feel good to do this kind of thing.
Hopefully, if it continues to live, it will take some CO2 from the air and convert it back into oxygen, so it will help with the global climate change and hopefully reduce that a little bit.
So just how do trees fight climate change?
A mature tree can absorb about 48 pounds per year of carbon dioxide.
Imagine what 1 million trees could do.
See, what we have to do is we have to mix in the compost with this dirt clay, because this dirt clay isn't very nutrient rich. Well, the compost provides a fair amount of nutrients for the tree. So that's why we mix them both together and plant them both together. And hopefully these trees will grow very strong.
This isn't Weber's first time to host a tree planting. Her first project kicked off in this grove along California's coast.
So tell us about this grove.
So we planted this in March of 2008 to sort of kick off the project. And so we have about 18 redwood trees here. The trees, they do a number of different things actually. They sequester atmospheric carbon dioxide, reducing the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And along other lines, they stop erosion with their roots, and they provide habitats for a number of different creatures.
Weber partnered with the Arbor Day Foundation to get a deal on trees for 4-H clubs across America.
The clubs involved, they have freedom what kind of trees they want to plant, where they want to plant. So it's really just providing the opportunity for people to go out there, giving motivation.
All the blue dots you see on the map are clubs doing their part to make it to 1 million. Back on Weber's home turf, the gang is ready to get the rest of these babies in the ground.
To have the trees, it's a bit prettier to start off, but then also to know that it is helping the environment as well. It's a good feeling, and I mean, it doesn't take that much effort, just a couple hours out of your day, and you'd get so much done.
Weber hopes this project inspires other teens to take action where they live.
And to be a part of your Million Tree program, do they have to be a part of the 4-H program?
Not necessarily. We feel that if we inspire people to plant trees, they should count towards the goal.
She hopes to reach 1 million by the time she finishes high school.
Every day is a good day to plant a tree.
Plant a tree!
Are you doing something to help green up your school or community?
If so, let us know about it.
Upload your videos to eco-company.tv.
They could just end up on the show.
Well, that's it for this week.
For more about the show, log on to eco-company.tv.
We'll see you next time.
Sometimes it's fun when you are really in a mood to get your hands dirty. It's also fun to know that you're saving the planet one tree at a time.
I think it's really a big sense of accomplishment and being able to look there and know that you did something.
It's very important for us as the younger generation to keep our planet nice.